It's Weekend Update with Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
And I'm Colin Jost.
We'll start this evening off with a weather report for the month of February. We're expecting heavy showers all throughout the entire month. By showers, I don't mean the kind that's in your home, I mean rain. If you don't know what rain is and you live under a rock or don't own a television, rain is water that falls from the sky. It's very, very dangerous for Clayton students. As a matter of fact, last time it rained, the entire district had the day off of school. You know, speaking of rain, the Australian bushfires are still happening, right, Miles?
You know what's still on fire?
What?
The boys' bathroom in the band wing. But on a more serious note, the Australian Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, was recently quoted saying, "These are sensitive environments. These are very emotional environments." Maybe we can use Clayton Conversations to discuss our overly sensitive and emotional environment.
The Iowa caucus took place on Monday night. It was a close-fought race between the top Democratic candidates, and as the night went on, the results were nowhere to be found. The next day, the Democrats only released 2/3 of the results. Now, this was intentional, because the remaining third could be purchased on Caucus Premium for $9.99 a month.
Last month, CNN reported that Senator Bernie Sanders told Senator Elizabeth Warren women can't win. Funny enough, the Ladue basketball team said the exact same thing to our own Clayton Greyhounds at their last game.
Yo, did they really say that?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys for a second. I really don't know. After all, I was in Africa.
The January debate, the unspoken aggression between Marxist candidate Bernie Sanders and communist Elizabeth Warren was closely watched. As a matter of fact, rumor has it that they have an MMA fight scheduled for next month.
Rumor also has it Bernie's the communist and Elizabeth Warren's the Marxist.
Anyways, tune into cable television to watch the fight. Anyways, there's a pretty democratic way to resolve that.
At the State of the Union address, President Trump boasted that, quote unquote, "a large, tall, very, very powerful wall is being built in our southern border. More than 100 miles have been constructed so far." But, after fact-checking him, only 1 mile of the wall has been built, and it's falling apart as we speak.
For more incorrect information on our walls, just see the Clayton Coalition's posters lining our own hallways.
Looks like all that money finally paid off. Clayton High School's new Adzik baseball field is completed, and it's looking fantastic. You know what they say, the grass is always greener at Clayton.
President Trump's impeachment trial is officially over, and somehow, at the end, Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz convinced the court that Trump's actions were legal because they were in the good of the public.
So, if you get caught cheating on a test, promptly let your teacher know that it is okay. Your actions are actually bringing up the class average. But we have to keep in mind classes that are below average. The sophomores.
That's right, it's the sophomores' fault that the Peppers date has been changed 3 times now. First, from the original date to February 22nd, then to March 6th, and as of this morning, it was changed back to its original date of February 8th. That's tomorrow. You can get your tickets in the lunchroom. And live from Clayton, Missouri, it's GET!
Lacrosse to basketball and even tennis, female athletes are everywhere at Clayton.
To recognize these outstanding competitors, the National Girls and Women in Sports Day was observed on February 5th.
Liv Tennill tells us more about this day and girls in sports.
This year, National Girls in Sports Day was on February 5th, 2020. But what exactly is it? National Girls in Sports Day is a day that is specifically for recognizing female athletes and all of their accomplishments. This day was started by President Ronald Reagan back in 1987. It originally began as a day to remember Olympic volleyball player Flo Hyman, who died suddenly of Marfan syndrome, for her achievements and work for equality. But since then, it has grown to a day all about empowering female athletes. Back when the day began, there was a huge disparity between boys and girls sports. However, since the implementation of Title IX and this day, girls' enrollments in sports has increased drastically. But as you can see, there is still a disparity between boys and girls sports. This is why we celebrate this day all over the country and here at CHS.
I'm a really competitive person, so I just love the idea of like winning. The competitiveness, like I like to compete.
For swimming, it's a really big component of my life because it's a distraction from like all the stress during school.
I think for me it's just a good way to like escape whatever else is going on in my life and like take a break and put my energy into something else.
I really enjoy like the community of all my sports teams because I feel like we're all like very close and we all like have like a desire to like compete and like succeed.
It's really nice just having a group of girls in whatever sport you're playing and have that community and be able to like support one another and rely on one another.
Like certain boys sports, there's like a lot more like focus on them rather than girls sports.
We've always had like a little bit of support, but it's definitely been growing.
I think it's really important just to be able to acknowledge like what female athletes do and like recognize their accomplishments.
As kids go through the school system, girls really drop out of sports a lot, and there's like a lot of statistics that show like women in sports have more confidence in themselves and like know their bodies more and have more self-worth.
But I think it's really important just to like give them something for like pushing through whatever if they're like experiencing inequality.
At the end of the day, we're all just competing.
Clayton students have become familiar with Clayton Conversations.
The monthly event provides an opportunity for students and teachers alike to share important aspects of the Clayton environment.
Wyatt Fox and Eli Millner shed some important insight on C-Square.
Clayton Conversations was designed to be a place where students could come together and talk about issues facing high schoolers at Clayton.
In a perfect ideal world, I would love for Clayton Conversations to occur more than just once a month.
I think we need to focus on what direction we want to go. So right now, Clayton Conversations to me has two lenses. It's got the angle of we can focus on creating meaningful dialogue between upperclassmen and underclassmen and creating a connection between the grade levels, or it can be a place where students can come together to create meaningful feedback on issues facing high schoolers and trying to implement change at the high school level and with the administration. For Clayton Conversations to have the purpose that we want and to be as effective as what we want, I think it needs to push into one of those categories.
And I think the hope would be that the community as a whole, as a Clayton school community, we would all benefit.
When we look at measuring the success of Clayton Conversations, I think one tool that we can use is the Panorama assessments. Panorama is an assessment that we just took at the beginning of this year, every student within the district. It measures things like school climate, looking at self-management, self-efficacy, and really how those all correlate to social and emotional learning. And I think that if we look at the high school data again when we take this test, I think that Clayton Conversations could have a meaningful impact on our Panorama assessments because we're working on community building, which has a lot to do with social and emotional learning.
We as adults, we think, oh, we know what's going on and here's how we can help you. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And but students are really the people we should be asking is, can you tell me what's going on? We need to figure out why something's not working. And the best people to ask are students. And then we act like I kind of think our mantra is we asked, we listened, and now we're going to respond.
If we want to have a group, a space where students can come together and try to create meaningful change at the high school, I think that it would be really beneficial to have students from their own grade level in a group, because if you have students in their same grade level in a Clayton Conversation, what we could see is look at how different groups are responding as they go throughout their years. So if we look at a freshman group of students doing Clayton Conversations, their response to homework is going to look a lot different than our juniors and our seniors. And I think that that can provide really meaningful feedback on what we're doing within a certain topic.
What you put into it is what you get out of it. And if you want to participate and have those conversations and give your input, you can be heard.
I think that Clayton Conversations does have some room to grow when we think about what it can be and how it can help students.
We've had 4. We very much are in the infant stage of what this will look like.
We can evolve to something that we don't even envision right now.
And I think the best thing to do is look at having one focus of Clayton Conversations. I think right now there's a lot of goals that Clayton Conversations has, and I think once we figure out what is the primary goal of Clayton Conversations, we can really work at that. And I think as time goes on, we'll see that students will feel more comfortable with their groups, more comfortable with the idea of Clayton Conversations, and they'll have a better understanding of what their purpose is when they go to a Clayton Conversations meeting.
Black History Month is honored throughout February.
Janice Williams shares a video about this important month.
Good morning, CHS. It's around this time of year again, February. As you know, it's Black History Month. So, me and some black students are here to give you some fast black facts for the month.
Huron Rebels was the first African-American senator in the United States.
The book of poetry was published by Phyllis Wheatley, and she was the first black woman to publish a book.
Dr. Carter G. Woodson is considered the father of black history.
Carter G. Woodson was an author, journalist, and founder of the Association of African American History and Life.
Surprisingly enough, it wasn't Barack Obama who first ran for presidency as an African American. That right belongs to Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson ran in 1984.
Madam C.J. Walker was not the first African American woman to become a billionaire. It was actually Annie Malone.
Annie Malone has actually created products that African Americans use on their hair to this day.
Jesse Owens was the second African American to win a gold medal in the Olympics. He won this medal in front of Hitler in Germany.
The world's most superb runner makes the others look as if they're walking, as he wins the final and equals the world's record time.
After today's video, there will be a quiz sent out about today's GET video. If you fill out the quiz and get the highest score, come down to room 41 and they will have candy waiting for you.
This has been GET,
a production of the Greyhound News Network.
No!
Hypodermics on the shore, China's under martial law, rock and roller, cola wars, I can't take it anymore.